Marco Rubio recently held a stadium rally in Florida, and it was so very, very sad. See, Talking Points Memo posted some pictures from the event showing a very little crowd for little Marco. Correspondent Jason Carroll said that the event only drew about a couple hundred supporters who were, quote, not even filling the end zone at a stadium. At a stadium. I'm gonna hold an event in the stadium, and then a couple hundred people are gonna show up. Oh, how sad. Washington Examiner correspondent Byron York also posted an image from the event showing that the stadium stands were actually very, very empty during the rally. I want to show you guys a couple of pictures here. This is so incredibly sad. Take a look at this. Looks pretty empty. There's that one. Then there's that one. A little bit of a zoomed out view there. There's that one from CNN. Yeah. Pretty sad, right? Now, I actually have another image here, and this comes from Rubio spokesman Brooks Salmon. And this is inside of a tweet. Crowd in Hialeah going wild for Marco Rubio as he arrives. Florida for Marco. Notice the difference there? I mean, yeah, it looks pretty good when it's close up, right? Turns out, camera angles are fun. And yes, I'm sure the crowd did look very excited, all 12 of them. Now, you might be asking, hey, why are you picking on Marco? Why you gotta pick on Marco? He hasn't done anything wrong. He's Marco Rubio. He's just a boy. He's just a boy. Don't pick on him, right? Well, look, it's because this event is in Florida, his home state. If he cannot draw a decent crowd in his own state, that's got to say something for his campaign. It has to say something for his campaign. And what it says is nothing good. According to polling averages, Trump is crushing him by 15 points. And USA Today reported that a new Quinnipiac poll, Rubio is trailing Donald Trump among likely Republican voters, Trump getting about 45% of likely Republican voters compared to Rubio's 22%. Now that is not good for Rubio. Those are terrible numbers. Now his internal numbers might actually be worse. And where do I get that from? Well, there's a Fox News clip from Stuart Varney that I want to show you about this. Let's take a look at that.
We have a breaking development on the election, specifically Marco Rubio. Charlie Gasparino is here with new information.
What I'm hearing from his money men here in New York City, what they're saying, and listen, this could change. It's early. What are we, Wednesday? We got how many days to the Florida primary? They're saying barring some better polling, and we're not talking about the Quinnipiac, right, plus or minus 10 on the scale polling. His internal polling, he will likely suspend before Florida. That's what his money men here in New York City are telling me. Listen, what I did was what every reporter does. You call people up after getting crushed yesterday. What's the feeling now? The feeling is despair. And what they internally, I mean, we talk about paths to victory. This is what his guys are saying. They don't see a path to victory, and they think it's better to get out sooner rather than later. Now, he may hold on. He may see some poll later in the week where he sees a glimmer of light. Things might change. They haven't hit him with all those attack ads totally yet, him meaning Donald Trump. But as of right now, what they're saying, if this thing doesn't change, we should be checking this daily to make sure we are first with the story of him dropping out.
And it's the money guys calling the shots, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, and often it is. And it's not just that. It's like they look at him and they say, okay, Marco, what type of damage are you going to do to the party now if you literally just hand this to Donald by taking votes away from Cruz? What type of damage are you going to do to your reputation long term? Yep. And I want to make real clear, this is not coming from the campaign, okay? I want the viewer to understand it. This is coming from the guys that give the campaign its lifeblood. This is what they're telling me. They're saying, keep on this story. If the polls don't change, they don't see him staying in till Florida. If they change a little bit, if he sees a glimmer of light, maybe he stays in at Florida and he gets out right after. But, this thing that's coming to an end for Marco Rubio.
Ouch, man. Listen to that. The money men This is the money men in charge. And we know Marco Rubio is an empty suit that's been stuffed with money. So if the money men are making this call and they're talking and they're saying, look, we're not going to support Marco Rubio because he's a fucking loser, well, what are you going to do? Now, of course, his campaign came out, denied that, because, well, look, if you're Marco Rubio's campaign, you would deny it too. You're hoping for a turnaround, right? And the last thing you want to have is this kind of message coming out that, look, the money guys are abandoning you. You're not doing well. They don't think you're going to do well. We're telling you that we might have to have you drop out. Now, at this point, I actually believe it when Gasparino says that Rubio's considering dropping out before Florida. I believe him in his analysis. I know it's Fox Business, right? But these guys know Republicans, and they know when the money men start talking, you listen. That's who, look, the lifeblood of the campaign. Nothing is more telling than that right there. The money men said, you might need to get out. Look, I've been saying this for a while too. I think Marco Rubio is a dead man walking when it comes to his campaign. After Florida. It's maybe after Florida, maybe before Florida. If he does terrible in Florida, obviously he's done, right? Now, there's a chance, and it happens, maybe he outperforms the polls. But it's got a lot of ground to make up. And besides, even if he gets close in Florida, if he gets a close second place, it doesn't matter. Florida is winner take all for the Republicans. Now, when it comes to delegate math, there's a reason for Marco Rubio to try to stay in to Florida. And another reason why, if he doesn't win Florida, he's effectively done. Rubio's currently got 151 delegates to Trump's 458. Now, Florida, big state for delegates. There's 99 of them up for grabs. Now, if he wins Florida, winner take all, that would put him above Ted Cruz. However, he'd still be behind. He'd be in second place, but he'd be, well, Donald Trump would have about double the number of delegates that Marco Rubio would have if he won Florida. Now, on the likelihood of that happening, look, if this crowd is any indication that he could pull out an upset win in Florida, then it doesn't exactly look likely that Marco Rubio is going to be in this much longer. Now, to be fair, it's Thursday. He's got 5 days to make up that ground before the primary. 5 days. Tick-tock, Marco. Tick-tock. Your time's coming.